what I mean is that no one knows how any of this got here. None of it. So if you want to say, you agree with that? No one knows how any of this got here. This is an important question.
Yeah, I think it is. And
okay.
In fact, there's even a verse in the Upanishads which says...
You don't have to answer.
No, I think you're right. I mean, even in the Upanishads, there's some verse which says that it ends up concluding maybe nobody knows. You know, after making all these statements, you might even remember that. It's like, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe nobody knows. So so we can leave it at that.
That's right.
We can take it.
Okay, so nobody knows how any of this got here.
Right.
Okay, so then some people, and it could be Ramana Maharshi, who had a religious upbringing, a traditional Hindu upbringing, and learned all of this in the cradle, may call that not knowing God. But hanging a name on the incomprehensible does not make it real. It doesn't make it any realer than it is, and it doesn't explain anything. And that's what religion is. It's hanging a name, God or the Supreme Being or Brahman, on a mystery. It's just putting a name on a mystery. If naming it explains something, it might have some value, but it does not. It doesn't explain anything. Nobody knows anything about how any of this got here, where it's going, what's it for, what it is. None of that. That's unknown. I'm not saying it's unknown to you or me. It's unknown to all of us human beings. It's beyond the event horizon. We're not going to get there. And what I have pointed out in my book is human limitation. I don't ask you to agree. I don't ask anyone to agree with me. I'm not proselytizing. But I will tell you something. In the moment that one really understands human limitation and stops imagining that Ramana or whoever got it, really knew. As soon as that fantasy, I call it, disappears, you are awake and you won't be going back to sleep anymore. And whatever opinions or viewpoint you may have, that may vary, some of it may be nonsense, but you will be awake. You will understand there's things I can't know and I never will know, and there's no path to them. And that's what I call awake. Awake as a human being, not as a seeker.
Right. Yeah, I can buy that. I would just suggest that there are degrees of human limitation, and there are those who have sort of forged territories or explored territories that are not commonly explored. The mystics throughout history may have known more than we give them credit for, or certainly more than the common man knows, that the human instrument has the capacity to probe deeper realities, not as mere fanciful imaginings, but as an actual, empirical investigation of more fundamental mechanics of the universe. That's all I'm saying. And I go to this conference every fall called the Science and Non-Duality Conference, and there's always this interesting dialogue between scientists and spiritual people about where their respective fields might overlap. And there tends to be a fair degree of agreement, particularly among physicists, some of whom themselves have sort of had long-time spiritual practices, that the deeper realities as understood by physics are strikingly comparable to the deeper realities as understood by the world's mystic traditions or spiritual traditions. But anyway, the one thing you said, you want to respond to that before I go on?
No.
Okay. Talking about, you'll have to rephrase how exactly you said it, but something about, experiencing things as they are, you kind of get it. That's waking up. This is it. You know what I'm trying to say? How would you phrase that?
Oh,
You've already said
What
it 2 or 3 times in this interview. I just want to get it in your words.
Well, in this moment, you know what you know, you think what you think, you feel what you feel. There's no changing that. It is what it is.
Okay.
What more can you say? This is it. The next moment will be something else. It keeps changing. It keeps flowing. That's what you call experience.
Yeah.
There isn't anything else.
But
What else is there?
You could say that of all 7 billion people in the world, right? Whatever they're experiencing, that's it for them at that moment. And
I do say that. Of course,
Yeah.
that's what it means to be human.
sure.
We're all human. That's what a human being is.
Now you have a PhD in psychology or something, and
Right.
probably you did some clinical work in earning that PhD. I mean, if you walk into a room or sit down with a psychotic or a schizophrenic or somebody and just say, well, your experience, it is what it is. I mean, that's true, but, I suspect that there's a vast contrast between that person's experience and the experience of somebody like Ramana, somebody who has sort of attained a great deal of clarity as to the nature of reality. So are we dumbing down? I mean, if we just say everything is as it is for everybody and that's all there is to it, are we kind of shortchanging them in terms of how they might experience life compared to how they're actually experiencing it now?
Well, but now is all there is. Might is just hypothetical.
Yeah, but like again, if you're talking to a psychotic, let's say, very troubled person,
I have done often.
and I'm sure you have, you've counseled them, you've worked with them. I mean,
That's right.
You wouldn't expect them or want them to stay in that state perpetually if there was some hope of them gaining greater clarity and sanity, would you?
Well, this is a different question, but
Okay.
I'll address that.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about an illness, mental illness. And when someone is mentally ill, you try to use whatever healing modality might help in order to deal with that. That's just normal. That's compassion.
Yeah.
Someone comes to you and they're messed up, and you try to help them be less messed up. But when I talk about being awake, I'm not talking about being less messed up. There's plenty of people who aren't messed up at all, but they're hypnotized.
Mm-hmm.
They're living in this fantasy world where they think they're going to find gratification out of getting the next thing or having the next experience. And if I just pursue this, I will then I'll be famous, or I'll get this job, or I'll get this beautiful woman, or then I won't feel this ache. I won't feel that I'm missing out. Right now I feel I'm missing out, but if I could only, and this longing, this desire, and then the fear of missing out, this is what drives us as humans. What I'm calling awakening is when that comes to an end. You don't have, I don't have that.
Right.
I'm going to speak personally. I don't really like to speak personally on this level, but this is my shot. I'm 72 years old. I might not be alive tomorrow, and I'm on your TV show. I don't feel any of that. I'm not afraid of anything, and I don't want anything. I'm awake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking Ramana Maharshi knew more than I did. If only I could find out Brahman. That would never occur to me.
Mm-hmm.
This moment is so rich. This moment is amazing. It really is.